When the war finally ended, David Rosenfeld was reunited with his parents who had survived the Holocaust. But Eastern Europe was in chaos, and many struggled to leave before the Soviet Iron Curtain came down.
We all wanted to get out from there because it became communist. Everybody wanted, there was a lot of Jews in Bratislava, but more even in Prague. All were waiting for permits to leave Czechoslovakia.
David was sent to a Jewish boarding school in Bratislava, where he met Rabbi Schonfeld. The English rabbi had come over to war-torn Europe to rescue orphaned and displaced Jewish children.
He told me that he's got a transport of children going to Ireland. I'd never heard of Ireland. But I said, I'll come with you.
Murray Lynn was finally liberated from Auschwitz in 1945. He was so emaciated he had to be intravenously fed in hospital for 3 weeks. Then he had no home or family to return to.
I have nobody, nothing. No money, no education, no home, no future. And that was my turning point. This is when I decided to leave that cursed land and look for an oasis elsewhere.
Nice and chilly. I had a Nigerian driver coming back.
Yes.
Took me back.
Murray eventually made it to Bratislava, where he was offered a place on Rabbi Schonfeld's transport to Ireland. In 1948, Rabbi Schonfeld finally got the necessary visas for 100 children to leave Bratislava for Ireland. A prosperous British Jew had bought Clonyn Castle in County Westmeath for the project, as the Irish government insisted all costs were to be met by the Jewish community.
We were all bewildered and traumatized. We were all destabilized people. We were afraid of our own shadow, terribly fearful of our future.
Many local people in Delvin remember the Jewish children who came to their village over 60 years ago, so they prepared a reception to welcome them back.
And when they arrived in Delvin first, there was 4 guards to meet them, and the children got afraid, and they asked for the guards to change into civil clothes because they were afraid of them, you know.
I remember the breakfast we got in the morning, cornflakes. I can't remember. And then I remember they gave us tea with milk. I said, crazy people put milk in tea. And I got to like it. I got to like tea with milk.
They came out once a day for a walk. They were led like a school. We had 2 people leading them.
You'd see them in small groups, 3 or 4, coming in with some members of staff. Yes, occasionally, but we didn't get to know any of them at that level.
They didn't speak to anyone because they probably didn't know the language anyway. But everybody would be looking at them and oh.
I remember them well now with the milkman. They'd walk down to the milkman's house and he'd give them a ride on the horse and trap back up to the castle.
A very fine building, you know. I can remember the main entrance and a big stairway, and it veered off left and right with a balcony. All the rooms had access from that balcony.
I remember the lobby, the big steps there. I remember even the room that I stayed. When I looked now at the castle, I know exactly the window that was my room.
I remember the shop used to go in to buy sweets, chocolates and ice cream. Okay. My favorite shop.
When the survivors returned to Clonyn Castle, where they had lived all those years ago, they were not permitted inside the castle and had to make do with photos from outside.
It looked dirty, and I remember it. But I know we had a very pleasant, very happy time there. Police came to see
The stage was set for a new life, but the year was marred by one episode.
There was people who didn't welcome their placement in Delvin either. And there was an attack on the castle where they burned down the front door. I remember seeing the door in its burning state. There were few people who disliked the Jewish community in all countries, and that included here as well. But apart from that, 99.9% all welcomed them.
Rabbi Schonfeld ensured that all the children were brought up in the ultra-Orthodox Jewish tradition.
I just know one thing, when I left here, I was very religious.
You were religious?
Yeah, I had payas.
Really?
And I had tzitzis.
Who made you payas religious?
Here. I was circumcised there. It was a very Jewish Orthodox education.
The Jewish festival of Tesha B'Av commemorates the saddest tragedies of Jewish history. On that day, Jews are not allowed to wear leather shoes, so all the children got new plimsolls.
At the back. Thank you, thank you.
The thing I remember is the lining up to get new plimsolls in Clark's shop. It was a drapery shop. Only I was very jealous because they were all getting these lovely white plimsolls.
I suppose they never sold so many plimsolls.
After seeing Clonyn Castle, the visitors arrived in the parish hall for a reception organised by Delvin Historical Society.
It's a great privilege for us to be here, to welcome you here, because there's a lot of Delvin people who remember you from the old days, etc. I can say shalom, I was fáilte. You're very, very welcome.
Big smile.
I was among the older ones here. I was 16 when I was here.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You remember?
Yeah. I used to call up to the castle on the bike. And the boys would come over to me and they want to play football.
The time spent in Ireland was a transformative experience for all the children.
To me, it was like an extended summer holiday camp. We were all happy. I didn't have any luxuries, but we had food, we played. I mean, I had no play. I never played with toys, never had friends to play with.
We played football, we played in the fields. The Clonyn Castle was very big, the grounds were huge, and we had all kinds of socializing. We met a lot of other children who had a similar fate. It was a powerful catharsis for all of us, talking about ourselves, talking about our past, talking about our grief.
And was your parents still alive?
My mother was taken to the ghetto in Bratislava. I found myself again, and it was so nice and warm and pleasant to be there.
I want to take you down to talk to the man who used to deliver the milk in the horse and trap.
Yes.
He's here. That's the man.
I remember that you go through the village and turn down left, and a little bit out of the village was a farm. That's where you found
Correct. And it's still there.
It's still there. I remember.
Still there, exactly.
Ireland was a stepping stone for us to a new life. We were received with open arms. They were the kindest, gentlest, nicest people that we ever met. It's the first time we were treated as human beings.
Perhaps if the rest of the world was as warm and generous as you all were, that if everybody felt the way you did, bit by bit, perhaps we can change the world and make it a better place, and we won't have this terrible evil ever happen again.
And you're his son?
I'm his son.
Oh, it's very emotional. It's overwhelming. All this, the last 3 days, it's really very hard. But I'm happy that I came.
Take a walk up to the top of the village, and about 200 yards you get a picture of the castle.
The people of Delvin, what they put up, our reception, and it just shows what a human being can be. How kind a person can be. Just for that alone was worth coming. Just for that alone.